Taoiseach, I want to speak today about nursing homes. I had a nursing home contact me there recently where residents, if they have to go to a doctor to have their ear syringed, first of all, they're being charged €35 to have their ear syringed. Now, these residents have medical cards and they're on the fair deal. They also then have to pay for a taxi, which is costing between €65 and €70. But also, the nursing home has to get a member of staff to actually go with them in the taxi. So it's now, and I was really delighted to welcome when you said people are living longer. And Taoiseach, you're right, it is good news. People are living longer, and with that we have the challenges. As I said, we have residents here who have medical cards, they're on the fair deal, and they have to pay for this money, and it's too much money, they don't have it. And the other issue, Taoiseach, I've brought up here on several occasions from people coming into my clinic too with medical cards, and they are being charged to have their bloods done. That is another issue. And you know yourself, Taoiseach, while we welcome people who are living longer, people are struggling, and particularly if you're on a pension or whatever. So all these extra, we need to get, I would say we need a proper system to make sure that we, with the doctors, whether we look at their contracts or whatever, Taoiseach, something needs to be done. As I said, these residents are concerned. I've been contacted, and there's a lot more have contacted me about it. Thank you.
We have sufficient time for you.
Okay. Well, thanks very much. Thanks to deputies for raising a range of issues. Obviously, when the question is to ask when the Cabinet Committee on Health will next meet, people will have to, excuse me if I have to come back on some of the specifics, because quite a few of the questions very significantly, I'd imagine, stray from standing orders, whilst being valid and important questions in and of themselves. But look, in relation to Deputy Boyd Barrett's question, and he has raised this on a number of occasions, and I think it's a serious point in relation to the issue of medical prioritisation and the local authorities, and his request for a circular in relation to this. Now, the disadvantage that I'm always at in relation to this is I don't have the benefit of the line minister here with me, but let me talk directly to the Minister for Housing in relation to that issue, because what we don't want is a situation that you're outlining where somebody who has 2 children with muscular dystrophy and cystic fibrosis is having a back and forth debating the status of their healthcare with their housing authority. We both know, and we might have different views, but we both know the housing constraints that people face. But parents of children who are sick, or indeed people in general who are sick or have a disability, don't need to be going back and forth. So let me look into that, and to my own officials watching this, we'll engage with the Minister for Housing on that, and I'll come back to you directly in relation to that. To Deputy Murnane-O'Connor, thank you for raising some important issues around nursing homes, nursing home care, and I suppose your request for clarity and transparency over what is and isn't covered, both through the Fair Deal scheme, the nursing home support scheme, and indeed through the medical card. And you gave the example of the ear syringe costs, but also the staff burden that's being faced by nursing homes, and indeed being charged with bloods when you have a medical card. I'll raise both with both Minister Donnelly and Minister Butler, and we'll come back to you in relation to that. To Deputy O'Sullivan, I just met some people today actually at the Dart station earlier who are on their way to an important conference around rare diseases, and this is a very important issue. I think, again, I want to talk to the Minister for Health on this, but I think there's a fair point you make here. We have some very large pharmaceutical companies here. I think 9 of the 10 top biggest companies in the world in pharma are based here in Ireland. We have incredible universities and research infrastructure, and we have a health service that we're funding now well over €22 billion a year. So can we do more in relation to access to orphan drugs and learn from the European example? I think we can. I think we have to. But I'll talk to Minister Donnelly about your suggestion, and we'll come back to you. To Deputy Murphy, in relation to Ognish Alanumna, thank you for offering to send that on again, because I don't want to on the floor of the Dáil reference something that I don't have the documentation in front of me, but if you will send that to me again, I'd appreciate that, and I'm happy to look at that and talk to the Minister for Health and the Department of Health in relation to that. Deputy O'Murricu, in relation to Delgan House, I did have the opportunity to meet a woman when I was in Dundalk in recent days in relation to this, and I think you used a very important word there, mechanism, and I think that's what the family. Sorry, I don't wish to speak for the families, but my sense is that's what the families want to know, is what is the mechanism that can be put in place for them to get truth, justice, and answers. I share that view. I know you do too, and it is about deciding what is the best mechanism. Is that the COVID review, or is that actually going to be a particular pillar of work? There were some suggestions made to me when I met, and I've also exchanged contact details with that family member. So I'm happy to engage on this, engage with the Minister for Health and come back to you on it. But I do fully accept that there are answers needed in relation to what happened in Delgan House, and the families, at the very least, they deserve. And I will work constructively with opposition to work out what that best mechanism is to bring about those answers. Deputy O'Sullivan, in relation to island healthcare, in Bear Island and Cape Clear, and the nursing resource and the importance of supporting island healthcare. I'll talk to the HSE and the Minister for Health. I take the point you make. We want to see our islands thrive, islands off our island, and obviously access to healthcare is an important part of making sure we have sustainable communities. Similarly, I'll follow up in relation to Bantry General Hospital and the neurology service there and the importance of it to Parkinson's patients, and I'll ask the Minister for Health to come directly back to you. And to Deputy Conway Walsh, in relation to University Hospital Galway, the importance of it as a centre of excellence and the traumatic experience that it sounds like one of your constituents has encountered there that you believe is replicated by many more. I was in Galway recently and I met some of the leading doctors working in this area. I know the Secretary General of the Department of Health was down, the Minister for Health was down in relation to the development plans for the hospital services, for centres of excellence. I'll get you a detailed note on that we can share with your constituent.
Thank you, Taoiseach. We now move to question 11.
Thank you very much, Cahirlock. And with the agreement of the House, I'm proposing to take questions 11 to 16 together. On the 7th of May of this year, the Government agreed to my request to appoint a task force to take a holistic view of the measures required to rejuvenate Dublin City Centre north and south. The goal is to make Dublin City Centre a more thriving, attractive and safe cityscape and a desirable location to live, work, do business in and to visit. The task force is taking an evidence-informed approach in its work, and it will provide recommendations to improve the city centre's public realm, safety and experience. It will harness existing efforts and initiatives underway, including within the Dublin City Coordination Office, as well as existing initiatives such as the Dublin's North East Inner City Initiative and the Dublin North Inner City Local Community Safety Partnership. The task force will not duplicate efforts already underway, and I think that's really important, but will instead consider what additional coordinated activities could galvanise actions to return Dublin City Centre to be that vibrant destination we know it to be, and to deliver on a shared vision of central Dublin's public space. The task force is led by an independent chair, Mr David McRedmond, the Chief Executive Officer of Unpust. He brings a wealth of insights and experiences to the role. Membership of the task force includes representatives from the public service, including An Garda Síochána, the local authority, the National Transport Authority, representatives of city centre business, trade union representatives of the community, the community and service provider sector, and the culture and arts sector too. The task force is being supported in its work by Dublin City Council, and I want to acknowledge the support of the Chief Executive of Dublin City Council on this, An Garda Síochána, my own department, the Department of Housing, Local Government and Heritage, and the Department of Justice. The Department of the Taoiseach will bring together a senior officials group as required by the task force to inform the work. The first meeting of the task force took place on Tuesday the 21st of May. The task force has been requested to deliver its recommendations for consideration by government within 12 weeks.